おはようございます。新規はパイロットです。今日飛ぶところはですね、カザフスタンという国ですね。インドがあって、ユーラシア大陸、ヨーロッパ、ここら辺ロシアなのかな。ここら辺中国。で、こうですね。バイコヌール宇宙基地というところへ、通って、カザフスタンの首都というところに行くらしいです。バイコヌール宇宙基地っていうのは有名なところですね。いきなりイーグルがいるじゃないですか。今日は早いんですよ。巡航速度が250ノットなので、ジェット機が多いですね。今日はジェット機がいっぱいいると思いますよ。楽しみですね。おエンジンカバーもつきっぱだったのかな、この人もしかして。タブはちゃんと離陸前には外した方が本当はいいんですけどね。北の方のところが武器がダメなのでセンサーみたいになってますね。サンダーバーグ。今日は楽しみですなぁ。
Cosmodrome, I hope I pronounced that correctly. And it was only within the last few years with the SpaceX Crew Dragon that NASA had their own launch capability. Right?
大佐が重なっとる。
Alright, I'm ready for takeoff. Peter, Tom, you ready for takeoff?
Yep, sure. I'll catch up.
Take off.
Oh, there we are. Well.
じゃあ行きます
Yuke Dog has got an interesting question
巡
here.
航速度
Does the
250ノット。
Godfriend's drone have a stall horn?
いいね。
It's only yes, it does. We can request that.
My life is in shambles.
Alright, my parking brake is off. Full throttle is in. We are underway for Community Fly-In Friday, Kazakhstan edition. In memory of humanity's launch into space, April 12th, 1961. Departure from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, which we will fly over today.
Let's go.
Exciting.
Oh, there's a 225 right in front of me. Oh, this will get messy.
Yep,
Alright,
good luck.
rotate, positive rate,
Look
gear
how
up.
small how small it looks next to that plane. Oh, it looks like a toy. That's
Caution
crazy.
wake turbulence, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys know what the road speeds of.
Ultimate Bagels, do I have that as my alarm in the morning? Absolutely not. I'd be so mad every day that I woke up and nobody would like I'm curious if anyone else has that as their alarm in the morning.
No. Because I think after a week I would try to kill you.
Yeah, you'd also try to kill me. That makes sense. Okay, you took off.
Yeah, I actually got airborne.
Did it?
I wanna. Where can I file a design flaw in my for the plane?
On our forums, Peter.
Because I can't see the 530 when I try to. Because my throttle's in the way. See, I can't see where I'm.
Oh, yes. You need to reposition. You need to lean into that.
Yeah, how about that?
Wolfpack, we do occasional giveaways on our channel. Certain streams.
TBU9。
Not just random Five Fridays, but it's just there's like a guest streamer with us, or special holidays, or something nice. In the past, we have to giveaways.
Also, if you can't afford to buy the sim outright, there is another way you can play on both PC and Xbox.
It's fine. Yeah,
Should I
no.
switch away?
Oh, Peter.
Yeah.
戦闘機天国じゃね
Yeah.
え。戦闘機天国ってことはないけど、軍用機天国じゃね
That
An
didn't took
attempt was
long.
made. As I was saying before, Peter had an unfortunate boo-boo with flying the Antonov AN225. Wolfpack, if you can't afford to buy Microsoft Flight Simulator outright, there is another way you can play, which is by signing up for a Game Pass subscription on either Xbox or
え。
PC.
早い。
And for a small monthly fee, this gives you access to well over 100 games, new ones rotating in and out every month. Unlimited play, they're not demos, they're not trial versions, it's the full game. And among those is Microsoft Flight Simulator. So, for your small monthly Game Pass fee, you can dive right in and play.
Do they pay you so much?
Well,
Every month, right?
I guess.
いやしかしでも
Yes.
何にもないってことです
I mean,
ね。
I'm not technically on the Game Pass team, but I do work for Xbox Publishing, and we're all part of one big family. So, I want to support my colleagues on the Game Pass team.
If you were to buy stuff from the marketplace with the Game Pass, I guess I'm not sure what your question is, but I'm guessing it's probably like if you don't have Game Pass, you don't have some stuff. Basically, if you buy like the full version of the game eventually, all that stuff will still transfer over.
いつも大きなので、あの人が
Unless it doesn't go between
今日はあれか、
Steam. So
ジャンボか。あ、ジャンボじゃないわ。コンコルドか。まあ、コンコルドもちょっとあれしときましょうか。
All right, I'm coming up to the Baikonur Cosmodrome, 6.5 miles out.
あれだな。ブリティッシュエアウェイズだな。ビジョンジェットも買っとけば見えたな。でもな、ちょっと今月は使いすぎですよね。
from my small screen, it looked beautiful, and then I switched, and I was like,
No.
oh, that's
No.
that's
あ、ラグか。
that's
Pretty uncontrollable. It's just whatever I do.
That was a close call.
What are you flying, Tom?
The A310
Right.
with the nice
with
retro
your
livery,
gorgeous livery
which is finally released.
for the public.
Yeah.
You want a pizza livery?
All right, coming up on the Baikonur Cosmodrome now. In addition to Yuri Gagarin's first human spaceflight launching from here, also the first object ever shot into orbit, Sputnik 1, the satellite that launched in 1957, also launched here from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. So a lot of space history happened here in
British
Kazakhstan.
Airways.
Again, it is auto-gen scenery, so it's not going to look fantastic, but you can see there's the aerial photography. There's actually, it looks like there's even a rocket on the pad. You can kind of make it out there, but that's the launch pad known as Gagarin Start, and both Sputnik 1 and Vostok 1, which was Yuri Gagarin's first space mission, departed right from there. So a lot of history of human spaceflight happened here. Interestingly enough, the aviation connection to this, in the early days of spaceflight, both the Soviet space program and NASA in the United States, neither country really knew who should be astronauts or cosmonauts in the Soviets' case. They didn't know what skill sets would be required for that. And I know NASA was looking at like deep sea divers, scuba divers, military personnel who served on submarines. They thought all of these people might be suitable to be astronauts. But in the end, it was President Eisenhower at the time decreed that it would be military test pilots
これ何
would serve as astronauts. And interestingly, without any kind of
Kojo ka.
cooperation between the two Cold War rivals at the time, the Soviet Union came to the exact same conclusion, and their cosmonauts, including Yuri Gagarin, were also recruited to the ranks of military test pilots.
ラプターと
And
タ
so
ッチング
there's a
した
very
い
strong cultural connection between astronauts, cosmonauts, and test pilots that persists to this day. Inquest is commenting on James' cat.
Cat. Sure.
I just missed a touch and go. Let me turn downwind here. I don't want to miss this landing. This airport here is actually where the Antonov 225 would land when it was carrying the Soviet Buran space shuttle back. This is an interesting one. For those of you who may not be familiar with this, the Soviet Union also had a space shuttle as part of their space program. It looked almost like an exact replica clone of the NASA space shuttle. It only flew once into space with an uncrewed mission. It was flown entirely autonomously. It was launched into orbit, did several orbits of the Earth, and then did an auto land with no human control at all on board. And then the Soviet Union collapsed and fell apart. The Cold War ended, and the program was canceled.
Videos online where people actually visit the hangar where it's stored. It's an interesting look into the past.
Here's maybe a question someone might wonder as you say the cosmonaut. What is the difference between a cosmonaut and an astronaut?
Well, really, there's no difference in terms of what they do. It's just a different name. The Soviets came up with the term cosmonaut first, and of course Yuri Gagarin was the first cosmonaut to fly into space. And the NASA, the American Space Program, they could have copied the term, but because it was the Cold War and they were rival countries at the time, and there was a lot of like international tension between the two, they wanted a different term for their space explorers. But really, they're essentially the same thing. And in our current era of international cooperation in space, and they started in 1974 with the Apollo-Soyuz test project, which was the first time that NASA and the Soviet Union cooperated in spaceflight. Cosmonauts and astronauts have served in orbit together for a common goal.
エアバス310どんなリバリかな標準かなあ310は持ってるよな
Alright, turning base.
標準ですなフライトシミュレーターこれはデフォルトの飛行機やね
Wrong stuff says tradition started by Gagarin who had to take a
もう
lead
今日は好きな飛行機ばっかじゃん
on a tire of the bus, taking them to the pad. Well, that's very interesting because Alan Shepard, who was the first American astronaut, flew a suborbital flight just a few weeks after Gagarin. Very famously, he was strapped into the Mercury
やっぱあれエンジンカバーもつきっぱなんだな
over and over. And eventually, what was supposed to be a 15-minute suborbital mission, he was on the launch pad for hours. And he also had to relieve himself. And eventually he got permission from the flight surgeon to relieve himself in his spacesuit on the launch pad. And that's a true story.
So what we said it's pretty impressive that the Buran was designed for fully remote or autonomous operation, even in orbit back then.
Turbo Magic says the lunar missions actually left Russian patches on the moon to honor the Russian cosmonaut. That is true, yeah. There was a few Russian cosmonauts, much like the crew of Apollo 1, I'm sure many of you know, who died in a fire on the launch pad. There were several Russian or Soviet cosmonauts, not exclusively Russian, but the Soviet Union at the time. Several Soviet cosmonauts also perished in the endeavor of human spaceflight. And as Turbo Magic said, the American astronauts who went to the moon, they actually put the mission patches of those fallen Soviet cosmonauts on the moon as a way to honor those who had sacrificed, paid the ultimate price in the endeavor of human space exploration. In fact, the plaque that was laid on the moon by the American astronauts says, "We came in peace for all mankind." Not for the United States, not for NATO, the Western Allies, anything like that. It was for all humanity.
あ、黄色のツルツルリバリーだ
Alright, there's touchdown. Oh, that was... what's going on? That's a...
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
What just happened there? I didn't think I landed that rough.
Was your gear down?
I checked that. My gear was down. What happened? That was... That was one of my worst landings. I thought I was coming in pretty smooth. I really don't know what happened there.
Swiss butter.
It's yeah, Wombi has got it right. Clearly because of the.
Oh yeah, we didn't do it.
We didn't do it. Next time. All right, positive rate gear up.
You're up.
I actually don't know what I did wrong there. I thought I was coming in for a pretty smooth landing. Initially, when it started bouncing like that, I was like, did I forget to lower my gear? But no, I didn't.
Well, as kids would say nowadays, it's a skill issue.
Clearly. Bad pilot is bad.
Wow. As the kids say these days, you suck.
Well, yes.
ラプターやっぱかっこいいね。
Looks like you're all right now, Peter. You figured
Yeah.
it out.
This is a lot better.
All right, well, we have 206 nautical miles until our next touch and go, so hopefully I'll do a better landing next time.
Yes.
Wow. I really hate pineapple.
Yep.
You should just say pineapples here. Or something.
Yeah. Well, actually, I have that. I'll show.
僕は真横にいてもちょうど真横ぐらいか。
Yeah, golden pilot. Am I out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
I don't think I can show. And as usual, it's,
じゃあ世間ではあまり見かけないラパールズを見に行
wing
くか。
tip again.
見えるようになったからな。
I don't believe you're still one person. Jeez.
だ。ラグか？
Discard here.
Wow.
Oh, anyway,
Shane, I know you're showcasing Sim Tom's interior right now, but there's something pretty wild happening on my street.
すげえな。
I've got an escort
Anton,
here from
go.
Maverick Super Hornets, but I've also got another
何にもねえ
escort
な。
from an F-14.
見渡す限り。
No, I did not. But look, who is this flying the Tomcat? We got Elias, but we've also got Hex.
What?
What is going on, Hex?
Probably broken. Or
Okay.
I
The
think we
one
progressed.
time in like the last 6 months that we specifically say fly a really fast plane, and you don't fly the Dark Star?
So he first flew the Dark Star and now he flies the Tomcat, so he actually progressed into the movie. We're almost at the end.
Backwards.
Well, he would need,
Oh, yeah,
he would
like
need the
that,
Super
yeah.
Hornet in between.
Yeah, we'll
So
skip
you'll go
that
Dark
one
Star,
apparently.
Super Hornet, then Tomcat.
What's your airspeed?
True. Well, I'm going a little bit fast. I'll throttle down a little bit. We're aiming for around 260-ish knots.
Or 250.
250. Yeah, that'll work.
Mine is doing so
0前後にばらけるなの。
Oh, wait.
so good. It looks so easy.
Yes. I mean, sorry.
It is. All right.
Well, apparently landing
No,
a
it's not,
jet
it's
is
not.
not that easy because I messed that one up really bad. So I mentioned that the Apollo astronauts left the clouds and said became a peace for all mankind. That
No.
last bit of that phrase, for all mankind, that actually lent itself to the title of a television show that's, I believe, still running. Have you seen that one?
Well, I think there's another season coming currently. But it's good.
Yeah, it's
So
really
like
good.
Alternative
kind of like a-
timeline.
Yeah, it's an alternate history where the Soviet Union during the space race landed cosmonauts on the moon first. And then the series explores what are the ramifications for that. How would world history be
25の
different?
ロングチュー
And
ブ
Ron Moore, who's the head writer on that show, he has said that the divergence in the timeline, I believe it was in 1966 or maybe 1967, there was a Soviet engineer who was called the head of the space program. His name was Korolev. And he died in real life. He had surgery or a heart attack or something like that. And he died very unexpectedly. And that was a big blow to the Soviet space program. He was basically their equivalent of Werner von Braun for NASA. He was their chief designer of rockets and spacecraft. And so his untimely death was really a huge setback for the Soviet space program. And so Ron Morris said in his fictional, or semi-fictional alternate history TV show for all mankind. So the divergence point where real history changes from the alternate history in the show is if Korolev had survived. She said he died during surgery. Okay, yeah. So if he hadn't died during that surgery, if he had lived, that's where this alternate fiction, alternate reality, that's the divergence point. And I think that's kind of interesting. That's a cool setup to a television show. I haven't seen it myself yet, but it's on my list. It's definitely something I want to watch in the future. So I'll admit, I'm a huge space nerd. I know so much about like the history of the NASA space missions. I can tell you almost like every astronaut who was on every mission in the 60s and 70s, right up to the early space shuttle flights. What their mission objectives were, etc. I know comparatively very little about the Soviet space program. It's just like being in the West, we are exposed to documentaries and movies and TV shows that really focus on NASA astronauts, and we see comparatively very little about the Soviet space program. So I know about Sputnik and I know about Yuri Gagarin, but beyond that, I really don't know much at all. So in doing some research for today's flights, I knew we were flying over the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and the history of the Soviet space program, how it was very connected to this place that we're flying over today. I did want to read up more about that. Yeah, Alexei Leonov, Rookie 31st mentions, was the first cosmonaut, first human actually, not just the first cosmonaut, but the first human to perform an EVA, an extravehicular activity, or more commonly known as a spacewalk. And I mentioned earlier the Apollo-Soyuz test projects. Leonov flew on that as part of the Soviet crew. This was 3 American astronauts and 2 Soviet cosmonauts. They each launched from their home country and linked up in orbit, and the 2 space capsules combined, and they opened the airlock and they shook hands in space. And that was considered sort of like the first example of, instead of being Cold War rivals and having like a competitive space race, this was the sort of the first part of international cooperation in space. Get to borrow that term that was left on the moon plaque for all mankind. Ricky Fish says Valentina Tereshkova, yes, the first woman in space.
I know her as Valentina Kerbal.
Oh yeah.
And actually today was also an important launch from the ESA. JUICE mission to Jupiter. It's launched today. It will take 8 years to reach Jupiter.
Yeah, for the pilot.
I hope so. Well, it's doing 4 orbits around the sun first, then using a lot of gravity assist. I'm just gonna say yes.
Just a slingshot.
Sounds like you might know. I don't know.
I do know that.
Yeah. It's like a slingshot, right? So you just
Get faster and faster. Exactly.
That's exactly what I want to say.
I mean, I paid
you
for
made
them,
them.
probably. Yeah.
What about food from Kazakhstan? Who's the expert? I will admit I am not an expert on this. If I were to guess, just knowing what I know of like Eastern European, Soviets kind of cuisine, again, this is purely a guess. I don't know for sure. I would think it'd be...
Jane facts about it, for sure.
Oh, you know Jane facts? I would guess things like borscht and, turnips, potatoes. But again, that's totally a guess, and I'm only making like a Soviet connection to that, to Kazakhstan. So what can you tell us, Jane?
Well, traditional Kazakh food is nomadic food because years sheep's, cows, lions, animals. And so because they were nomads, they would make food that was very portable, very long-lasting. So getting into the cuisine from my brain and not from any source material from the internet. Number one, Kurt. It's a hardened fermented ball of cheese. One of the best examples of nomadic classic food. That's interesting. To prepare, use sour milk from sheep and
Oh, sounds delicious.
strained into soft curd.
GV8B だ。どこ行った？あ、いや。
So it's a very portable, high calcium snack. Very
Water
salty.
through my mouth.
Enjoyed best in small doses. And in a it's crumbled into soups and soups and stuff. Super nice. Wow, this is okay. Shubat is a drink.
Keep spoiling me, doesn't it?
Just as this
Right. I mean, at least
my favorite.
Outside of the drinks and stuff here.
At least I'll lose weight, so there's that.
Okay, here's a bread.
これなんじゃろ昔川だった後なのかな。
Ooh, a dumpling.
Oh.
Auntie.
Duck.
Let's see, it's
Fermented.
crown
トムキャットがいいな。
wrapped up in
やっ
dough,
ぱり
either
トム
boiled
キャ
or
ットミニコ。
What about mashed? 'Cause you got boiled and stewed. Mash and boil them, stick them in a stew.
Look who's behind you, see? In his
Oh,
proper form.
there's Hex in the Dark Star now.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a little bit about the cuisine there, so
Proud.
traditional.
Sounds
Talking traditional.
キャプテン
I
ちょ
looked
っと
up
待ってく
pizza
ださいよ。
Domino's.
ラファール見えると思ったのに残念だったの。
I did like that you mentioned a dumpling because, like, every country's cuisine has their own version of a dumpling. Almost everywhere on some kind of dumpling. Well, I mean, we borrow very heavily from the European cuisine, so it depends where you go. I mean, it would be a lot of very European immigrants, so if it's an Italian community, it would be something like ravioli. If it's a Ukrainian community, which in the prairie provinces, there's a lot of Ukrainian descended people, it would be a pierogi. On the west coast, and in Toronto, where there's a very large Asian community, it would be something like bao or gyoza.
CD
So, you know, it really
is
depends.
dumpling.
Hulk, our next
Cricket noise.
touch and
エ
go
ロい
is
服
going to
みたい
be
なあれ。
sorry, I'm not used to this display. Here, well, you can spawn here. This was our last touch and go. Uniform Alpha Oscar November. As you can see, we're a little bit away from that, but you can maybe slew to catch up to the pack. We spawn at Uniform
見
Alpha
事に
Oscar
見事
November.
じ
And we're on Southeast Asia servers. That's very important if you want to fly along. Pizza rolls
めっ
would
ちゃ
be
花
America's
割れと
dumpling.
There.
巨大機の二人とも見に行くわ。
I might actually go get a thing of pizza rolls after this stream.
Yeah.
I'll have for later.
not the best, but you're still like, man, there's
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. We all know it's not good, but every now and then, sometimes you just have a craving for a microwave burrito. Right?
I don't know if I've microwaved a burrito.
Joey Bolas here. Joey says pigs in a blanket.
Oh yeah. Simple and delicious.
Well, to be fair, that was a request from chat. We didn't bring that up on ourselves.
True. It's all their fault.
I'm gonna pull up a photo. I'm gonna show this to you. Here is the Antonov 225 with the Soviet Buran space shuttle
Antonov 225
strapped to its back. And so
Good
this is what the AN-225
Good
was
idea,
built
so
for.
I put
It was
that wheel
purpose-built
almost-
specifically for
almost
this one
zero.
mission, was to carry Buran on its back. Back to, and its destination was the Baikonur Cosmodrome, which we just saw a few minutes ago.
でっけえ
When the
相変わら
Buran
ず
was canceled,
大人と子
rather
供
than
みたいだ
scrapping the AN-225, they converted it to a very heavy lift cargo plane. But that was not its original mission.
The attachment points here on his back.
じゃあ真っ白白すけど何も書いてない
They just kindly ask you to jump.
ない
Uh,
おお危なかっ
I would guess
た
with a
ギリだっ
crane?
た
I don't know. Anyone in chat know the answer to that? I would assume they use a crane.
Or in air. Just launch it with a rocket and then land.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Hapes is here too. Hey, Hapes. Nice to see you.
Here's another dish. Curd
もう優雅なもんだねご挨拶も
picture of that before. It's kind of.
ばらけましたね
Yeah. You first take the horse. No. There's this huge rel in the Netherlands that IKEA apparently did sell horse meat, or at least it sold meat that contained horse meat, or traces of horse meat. It was a whole thing. People were disgusted by it because they apparently had meat horse meat.
完全にチョンキと
Cuisine and culture, see how it was heavily shaped by
Well,
Oh.
it's also very interesting, Jane, that almost all of human advancement can be traced to heavy meters. Honestly, one of the very biggest reasons that we have human culture and learning and education and new technologies
あっちに
is
も
when humanity shifted
ある
thousands of years ago from being hunter-gatherers, nomadic hunter-gatherers, to settlers. The development of agriculture, which then led to permanent settlements and cities, and the ability for humans to do pursue other activities beyond just hunting and
これ
gathering
なん
and
かやっぱ違う
collecting
飛
food.
行機がこれに見えてる
That
の
was
か
probably the
な。
single biggest advancement that led to humanity's progress.
Isn't that nice of you to read about guns, germs, and steel? Yeah, yeah, Kazakh cuisine. Clearly it was made to last.
すげえ。 よー。戦闘機はあまりおらんでござるな、この分断に。もうちょっと前行ってみるか。
Great names. Tesla's companies alcohol drink in Kazakhstan. Alcohol is regarded as the number one friendship. Drinking is not considered at many levels. Straight up vodka.
反対もがちょっと飲んどる。
I think you'll get used to it.
Seems like I have some extra set of wings.
Still, it's still good.
Oh. Ooh, Concorde. Well, goes as a bonanza, but
あ、F16
Yeah,
が
it's
いい。
important. We all know it's.
A romantic
like
is an
we're,
interesting comment. My friend is from Kazakhstan that his parents were teachers and the government would pay them in vodka when they didn't have money.
It's a story of a friend who told me.
yeah,
Yeah.
from a friend.
Okay.
So kind of coming up to
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I wanna. I
You
want.
don't want to
I'm still 110 nautical miles from the next touch and go.
well. Let me check. Yeah, it looks rough. Map it close.
I'm not super familiar with the operation.
すげえな、なんとなく
Yeah, how do I zoom
225 の
the MFD?
N225 のあれだ。大変態だ。
Right middle.
Right middle?
So when we do that, oh, it's there. So press the right touch.
しかしできれば戦闘機が見たい。
Uh,
どこにいるんだ戦
okay, it
闘
looks
機
like it's
は
on MFD, sure.
Okay, then I think the
Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, alright, yeah.
is this way.
Which one's the range button?
The bottom. The
サ
bottom
ンダ
right.
ーバーズかな。
Oh, yes, there it is. Thank you. Perfect.
What speed are you guys doing?
250 or 463 kilometers an hour because everything is metric in there.
250. 300.
I'm here with a little clock of
そうですね。
25. We're migrating currently.
Well, how would you call them? A group of 225?
I think a flock. This is getting cozy.
Speaking of what you call groups of things, I saw a tweet. This is my style of humor. This really tickled me when I saw this tweet last week. There was like a Twitter trend where someone was like, take the title of a movie and depluralize it to make a completely different movie. And the example they gave was Jaw. But then the best response by far, and this is the one that like it literally made me laugh out loud reading this by myself. Depluralize a movie. A crow on the Orient Express.
何をやっているのか。あれどこ行ってた音。そういう催しではない。なんか勘違いしてるな。
First we got snakes on a plane, now we got crow on a train.
燃料がもったいない。
It's a real role play.
Where are the pineapple peas?
Well,
やっぱ大じゃん。
yeah.
Probably discharged already. So
マーベリック、あ、大佐か。マーベリック大
It's a
佐。
special hatch. Yeah.
大佐もこの大変態を見に来たですか。
Right there was a lot more.
Pizza time.
Hey, Becca is here. Welcome, Becca. Nice
Whoa.
to see you.
No, I'm doing it. I'm so good to see you.
よー
I didn't. I'm not that clever.
よー
Plus, I knew I would never be able to top a crow on the Orient Express. That's just so good. King Abu says, let's smoke in the restrooms. No, do not do that. Seriously, do not do that. You'll make the...
大
if
佐、
you do on a
今
real
日は
flight,
歯医
you'll
者
make
さんに
the
行かない
plane
とい
have
け
to
ない
make
で
a
すよ。
emergency landing, and you will
行きたく
annoy
ね
everyone
ー。
else on board that flight. And you will also get arrested. Yeah, so do not do that.
I'm okay with
more
other
than you
people
would
being
like.
annoyed.
うん、ごめんなさいだな、ほら、こっちから。おー
Plane.
Next airport is Uniform Alpha Kilo Delta, UAKD. Currently 19 minutes out, 86 nautical miles to go.
Can you pronounce the name of it?
I'm not even sure I know the name. My map is just showing the ICAO code.
I see it here, but my brain is just refusing to apply. With all of the things. Zeskazan?
Maybe you can try the accent of a
Jessica's
famous.
I don't
Maybe you
know.
can try the accent of a famous actor, Tom. That maybe the words maybe better. Maybe you can try the accent of a famous actor that way. Maybe better.
Well,
うん、やっぱ AV8BO じゃないわ。N
New spawns with a phonetic spelling there. Jessica's gun. Hopefully that was close. I did my best.
funnily enough, when I see something written in phonetics, I get confused more.
Well, because you're not a native English speaker, right? So you're reading English phonetic spelling of not even your native language.
Yep.
True.
How do
Although I
you-
did have to learn the English one.
おー、ちょっと長かった。
Why I
さっき言ったジャパンラグビー。おー、すげえ勢いだった。ビビった。
Looks like I've got a couple.
おえー、大佐が横におるじゃん。
Yeah, I've got a couple of 225s. And a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
PC21
Tape says
これ見
Albuquerque
え
is
て
not easy.
ない
I
ん
have
だ
to
ろ
look
う
it
な
up.
多
Okay,
分
here's one I can never spell
新しい方の
first time.
PC21 かな
I have to look this up every single time. Massachusetts. I cannot spell
マ
that
サ
word
チ
to
ュー
save
セ
my
ッツ
life.
工科大
I had that with necessarily.
I still don't know, even after all the times it's auto-corrected for me.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That
how
doesn't,
you write it.
So it doesn't
I'll
matter.
try to remember. and then-
I usually type an approximation.
yeah,
Then it gets
like
read by
one
the-
C or two S's.
Yeah, I don't care.
That's-
You
you'll
meant
figure
that?
it
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I meant that. Yeah.
ちょっと安定しちゃうもうペガサスエンジンのノズルが4つ見えましたなあもうそんな時間赤っぽ
Abe said it.
Irregularities in English spelling and pronunciation.
Oh no.
I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'll read like the first three.
I'll bring it off the screen.
Chaos, 1922. Dearest. Switch to
It's like karaoke. Virtual soul.
Dearest creature in creation, studying English pronunciation, I will teach you.
うんさっきの塊を
Sounds like worse. Worse.
燃料はもう半分ぐらい
Susie, dizzy, make your head dizzy. Tear in eye, your dress tear.
何にもねえな道路はあるな
Pray, console your
Fair.
loving poet. Make your coat look new, dear, sew it. Just compare heart to cure and hurt. Dyes and diet and word and hurt. Oh my god. Sword and sword written. Mind the latter how it's written. Maid has not the sound of maid. Say
大
say
先輩
said
に会いに
maid
行くか
I'm not sure. No, I will surely not plague you with such words as vague and og. But be careful how you speak. Say gush, push, stake, streak, break, leak.
And it just continues by how irregularly Dutch.
大先輩すごいね
Sure, Becca. Okay, so much. I'm just reading codes. Reading just
大
that.
先輩とも並んで記念撮影的なものを
Ague.
あれ見失ったどこ行った大先輩 あここだ
Bid.
Yeah, it goes on. I like it. I was exhausted.
っていうか F35 と並んどったら兄弟親子というか兄弟というかあれなの日の機関 F35 ライトニングとライトニング2の共演が楽しめたというのまあ300ノットぐらいは出てくるね
Icelandic volcano that I cannot pronounce. Peter, you can do that one, right?
Yeah, it's very easy. It's phonetic division.
Yeah. And Frank is correct too. That was.
Yeah, this time last year we did a community fly-in to Belfast. The Titanic was built
あここに
for that event.
息子の方もおったわ
Yeah, when I was looking up themes for potential destinations for this week's fly-in, that one came up, and I thought about it for a second. I was like, no, wait, we did that last year. Let's mix it up and do something.
大先輩ですよイーグルの
More recent than this year.
ライトニング戦闘機
I can remember
P38
2 months ago.
No.
Yeah, I think we did because of when the Titanic sank.
Well, the Titanic sank shortly after it launched, April of 1912.
Wow. Time does fly.
Wow, really?
She pronounce the word instead of the correct corrected. Sure.
So Hames,
Oh my
I'm a little
gosh.
bit sympathetic to that because that's someone who is familiar with the word, but they've only seen it in written format and they've never heard anyone pronounce it properly. And so they pronounce it the way it's written. And it's hard to fault someone with that.
I did that so long for the Irish was Jameson.
エアフォースミグ
It's not
ミグ見に行くか
Jameson. But I always said Jameson, which is very
Oh.
wrong. But everybody understood me when I ordered it here in England. So I was never.
It's close enough.
多分キャーと思う
Until I heard the commercial of it. and I
が
said, How is it?
It's like,
oh,
ミグもちょっと見たい
I think so.
みんなこの大変態が見たい
Hames
チラ見
is
し
a
に
good
来
point
るんだ
though.
な
You can fault an English teacher for not doing that. Yeah, that is subject matter that they should probably be familiar with as an English teacher.
あタッチングかここタッチングすっごいじゃん
3 amp on one says spoiler alert. I haven't even got to the second VHS tape yet.
Come on,
of
no.
Titanic.
宇宙大艦隊はみんなタッチングしなかったな
really? No.
So sorry. That was good, Mario. Yeah, it did make me think of the hardest character. Because I cannot
Has anyone
see
seen
that.
Has anyone seen this video where there's an Italian pop artist that does a song with totally gibberish nonsense language, but it sounds exactly like English? Has anyone seen this?
I think I have, yeah. You're like trying to figure out what he's saying in English, but then it's like,
Yeah. So like as a native English speaker, I watched this video and it sounded like English to me. It was wild.
But the same can be done for Italian and Spanish for non-native speakers, right? You can sound very Italian or you can sound very Spanish without actually saying it. Or in the same for Japanese, Korean, Chinese.
Oh. Wombi and Pat in our chat has posted the name of the song.
Prison colonensinine.
おドクロのかっこいいやつじゃんキャプテン
Okay, for anyone who doesn't know this song, here is the first song.
Finland?
Just based on the lyrics?
It's a song written by like Iceland, basically.
Oh.
And it's trying to teach you some Icelandic.
イエーイ
Fun to try.
All right. I'm
There are things.
8 minutes out from the next touch and go at Uniform Alpha Kilo Delta.
you would think, oh, high up in the air.
黄色いヘルメットで派手ですな
New spawns. First comment under the YouTube video of that song. He can actually sing in Doctor's handwriting. But you know, yeah, I'm right with that. My grandmother,
Rescue.
she was alive, she could pronounce that town name perfectly.
元気回
There's
って
a
る
viral
な
video from 2 years ago where there's a meteorologist, I think on the BBC, said that town name perfectly on the air first try.
First try.
First try.
Probably.
I'm not sure.
How could they do that first try?
But the English translation of that town name, I'm gonna mangle it a little bit, but it's something along the lines of like small town on the stream next to the wall by a lake or something like that. It's not exactly it, but it's along that. And it's just mashed all together as one big word.
Yeah. You know,
Meteorologist was
Amsterdam and Rotterdam are kind of the same like that. Because it's a combination of two words.
TV80 に
It's
行
a
くわ
dam in the Amstel River. Dam in Rotterdam. Yeah, three, but three syllables. But I mean, it's also a combined word.
Yeah, there's the spelling of it. P-Flow in chat. That's all one word.
I don't know how to pronounce the PWLLG1. Like, is that a
Bubble.
certain? Is there a certain? I'm just curious to know what that is before attempting.
おうあ、この飛行機ノズルが横から出てるんですよね。4つあるんですよ。左に2つ、右に2つ。
I'm actually an
あれが下向きになって、垂直に離陸したり着陸したりできるんですよね。
Just Google Translate. Sorry, Bing Translate.
ペガサスエンジン。
Inquest says you double
販売システムとご協力
エンジンが動かしてるな。あ、離陸した。
販売システムとご協力によって進みをご紹介。
ちょっとエンジン、
Well, another news.
燃料補給。
17 miles out.
Okay.
And looks like we're gonna do a pretty much straight flight.
I'm 21 miles out. So just behind you.
じゃあ行くか。
Just follow.
I'm just following. I want.
H
Come on,
says
man,
that's
it's
the
all on
combination of my
Netflix.
luggage.
Oh, I just overflown it. That's nice.
You're already there.
Yeah, I'm already there.
Man, I love it. So reading through the rest of this poem, it's so good.
You're welcome.
Holy Holly Signal signing, same examining but mining, scholar, vicar, and cigar, and solar, Micah, war, and fun.
Yeah, so the only way to learn how to pronounce it is just accidentally learn all those words separately, right? There's no real rule for it.
Has anyone seen the joke? This
Yeah.
it's probably about 10 or 15 years ago now when Daimler-Benz bought an interest in Chrysler, the
あ、この
American
四
auto
角い
manufacturer,
あ
and
れ
they were
は飛行機が止まるところなの
deciding whether
か。
they want official company communications to be in German or English. Is anyone familiar with this one?
じゃあそろそろ行くかな。
Okay, I'll put it on my
次々
screen
飛
and
行機が
show
来
you.
るけど。
Let me blow the text up a little bit. As part of the negotiations, Director at Chrysler conceded that English spelling has some room for improvement and have accepted a 5-year phase-in plan. In the first year, S will be used instead of the soft C. Also, the hard C will be replaced with an S with K. Not only will this clear up confusion, but computers have one less letter. There will be a growing company enthusiasm in the second year with the troublesome PH will be replaced
あの
by
パパっ
F.
ていう人もあれ
This
だ
will
な。
make words like photograph
あれの一人だ
20%
な。
shorter. In the third year, Daimler Chrysler acceptance of the new spelling can be
っていうことは
expected
戦
to
闘はやっ
reach
ぱ
the
もっとず
stage
っと
where
前
more
か。
complicated changes are possible. Daimler Chrysler will encourage the removal of double letters, which have always been a deterrent to accurate spelling. Also, all will agree that the horrible mess of silent E's in the language is disgraceful, and they would go. By the fourth year, people will be receptive to such steps, such as replacing TH with Z and W by V. During the fifth year, the unnecessary O can be dropped from words containing O, and similar changes would of course be applied to other combinations of letters. After this fifth year, we will have a really sensible written style. There will be no more troubles or difficulties, and employees will find it is easy to communicate with each
これも
other.
大先輩や。
Of course, all suppliers will be expected to use this for all business communication via Daimler Chrysler. The dream will finally come true.
Outlanding.
There's
Go.
also one German commercial, right? To learn English. There's this
今エンジンがちゃ
situation
んと
that the German
カ
Coast
バーさ
Guard.
れてる。
This is the lighthouse one.
Yeah, the lighthouse.
Yeah,
one.
yeah, this is great.
So he's sitting in this lighthouse. We heard on the radio. We are sinking. We are sinking. This is the German Coast Guard. What are you thinking about?
Languages.
I did.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
that's-
I'm gonna
Change
take
the
my
land.
autopilot. That's the same. Hopefully, I will do it a lot better. Really awful touch and go. I'm gonna do a 360 though. I'm high for this. Hape says the original version of that was falsely attributed to Mark Twain. Today's interesting fact. The version of that English gradually turning into German. It's such a confusing language. It's so difficult to learn because there are so many exceptions and weird rules.
So grammar-wise, it's actually pretty simple. It's way more simple than many other languages. It's just that the pronunciation with the spelling is very. Sure.
そう抜けます。
We're so knowledgeable.
まだもう
Thank
一
you. Well,
もう一
Kazakhstan
つ
is
あるんですよ。
the longest border in the world.
That is
Long
interesting.
feet.
Spreading
Good little-
over 500 kilometers. It's the longest continuous border. It's the second longest by total.
本当にこの砂漠だか歴史だか。
Some water. Is that some place?
Well, Alaska,
Continuous?
British Columbia. Is not, it was broken up. It's not a single contiguous line.
25度ぐらいか。
It's also the largest landlocked country in the world.
Yeah, that I can.
It says this may not seem like a huge deal, but when you consider the sheer size of Kazakhstan, it is Kazakhstan's the ninth largest country, the largest country without access to the ocean. So all their water resources are glaciers, lakes, reservoirs.
All right, coming in on medium final now. I really had to redeem myself on this landing. There's a lot of pressure on this. My street cred is really riding on this landing here. Coming in kind of hot.
It's fine. Just plug the airbag.
Flaps and gear are down.
That's fun.
気持ちよいの高いところも。
Don't forget the stall door.
Oh, I had not forgotten that. Ah, much better. That was really good.
Wonderful.
I mean, literally though, other than the stall horn, I don't know what I did differently that time versus the last time when I had a terrible landing. It's the exact same thing. Wait. Okay. Positive rate. Gear up.
Oops.
さっきあれ高橋
That's it. I did
Okay.
5 or 6 lessons. It was awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Is
I
it?
see we're 245 nautical miles from our final destination. So we
Yeah,
may need
these
to
are not so
go
fun.
a little faster to get there in time. So fly it like you rented it. By GPS, and we've got 40 minutes left on this fly-in. So probably around 300 knots-ish.
Disable all.
Aircraft here around the sure.
English because the official aircraft communication language. That's an interesting question. Actually,
When did we usually Why? Why not Dutch?
Well, I kind of blame that.
Oh,
with the computers and I mean, before
No,
that,
it was already. Yeah, I think before that.
In its infancy, aviation was primarily pursued to destinations such as unmanaged. As the skies by the mid-20th century, English becoming the universal business language in 1955, the International Civil Aviation Organization recommended the English as the exclusive language for global aviation. On one level, it was for conveniency, on another, it facilitated maritime
that adding that game day. It means, like, it literally translates the word Mayday, M apostrophe
Still one of my biggest annoyances in ATC traffic is when
Oh no, I overspeed I was going too fast and I overstressed my aircraft.
Take what's the
Yeah, okay, that's not gonna work. Alright, let me go back to the main menu. I'll spawn in on top of someone.
crash damage. Crash damage.
I mean, there's proof to you though. I do not play with crash settings turned off. I have full realism enabled at all times. I do have unlimited fuel though. I don't want to worry about that.
So he
I
has that.
recently saw a video though of someone doing like a ferry flight of BA-62. It was entering Canadian airspace, and there they were actually speaking French too. So he was
Yes,
at a certain
exactly.
moment very confused because he was like, I do not know what they're talking about. Could be an aircraft close to me.
Yeah. It's one of my biggest annoyances as well. If you're in Germany or in France, they'll often talk a
Especially
local
in France, I think.
Yeah, but Germany as well. Especially small GA fields, they will just talk German. It's so important. Someone's doing fun stuff behind me or is creeping up with me or like with 250 knots. I want to know that. Yeah.
and as all pilots are less
And also in South America,
Ah.
Europe is still.
戦闘持ち上がり変態発見大隊長発見
My pet peeve. By the way, I'm spawned back in. I spawned back
Yeah,
on top
ここからは
of
ここで
Peter. So,
隊長たちの持ち上がり具合を見ながら最後までフィニッシュし
I'm
ま
at
す
10,000
と
feet though. Didn't mean to be this high when I.
I'm
loaded
at
in.
10,000 feet.
Oh, that's why. I mean, I'm gonna descend down then.
なんだしばらくは
So one of my real-life aviation pet peeves is when air traffic control will use local knowledge when communicating over the radio and assuming you know what they're talking about. So at my home airport, where I learned how to fly, and my flight instructor told me this because they were very familiar, there's a bend in the river near the town, and ATC, when you were approaching inbound to the airport and you wanted to request landing, ATC would come on the frequency and say, advise when you were beamed to the bend. And what they meant is, like, when your plane is close to the bend in the river, contact ATC, and then you can join the circuit. But if you're not from that airport and you don't know what they're talking about, and if ATC says advise when you revieve the bend, how do you know how to respond to that?
Say again.
Yeah.
Say again.
I mean, I guess you just say, I'm not from this area, I'm not familiar with that landmark. But I personally don't think ATC should use local knowledge terms like that.
Is it real ATC or something?
No, it was real ATC. It was a Nav Canada, air traffic controller, like a tower controller for Nav Canada.
Title voice.
Use VFR points or IFR points. Published in the charge. I mean, if the bend is published in the charge.
I mean, it does show up literally as a very distinct bend in the river. So if you're looking at a VFR chart, you might be able to make an assumption, but I would not want to do that. I think that would be very unsafe.
No. Then it should be marked as bent.
Hapes, I can identify with this so much. Hapes says, I come from a town where directions are/were often given using landmarks that no longer exist. Turn left where the Burger King used to be. Yes, in my hometown, where I grew up in New Brunswick, Canada, that is how people give directions. Yeah, where the sellers used to be.
Street names.
You remember the time that the bell was there? Yeah.
ビジョンジェット買ってないから見えないですけどね。
Like was it like that?
体調インサイド早すぎるいくらなんでもということで
I can't copy right now. I'm flying.
金持ちだ
I
I
wonder
haven't
if
heard that before, but I just really like your impression.
my impression of that guy is just as good as your impression of a stallhorn. That's really what he sounds like. I wonder if that guy is aware that he has become an internet sensation in online aviation communities.
See if I can find some like
体調インサイド俺早すぎの
well it's very nice.
80年
I
代
had someone asking me
こ
what
んな
that
もんならいいのではないか
what it looks like.
Yeah.
Israel.
When I
残念ながらキー飛行機です
So when your eyes around.
follow my pupils
Yeah, it's well.
and also my head when I
I found the YouTube
体
video
調
of it,
今日もお疲れ様です
but I can't broadcast YouTube
あり
audio.
がとうございます
I think I
Okay,
can.
let me. I'll send you the link, Peter.
Also the timestamp.
I don't know the timestamp.
I'll look it up. It's fine. I know roughly where it is.
Okay, I pasted the YouTube link in the description. I'm not ready to copy. I'm flying. That's so good.
Zoka wants to know how performance is when you take a picture.
No difference in my experience. Does not have a hit on frame rate at all. I personally love my Tobii eye tracker. I don't have it turned on today. That was my fault because I forgot to start it when I launched FlightStem. But normally I use it every week and I love it. Secret Sauce, are you all 4 people flying? Do you guys work for Microsoft? Jane and I do. Peter and Simtom are volunteers from our community that join us every week. But myself and Jane are community managers for the Microsoft Flight Simulator team. How do you spawn on someone? So from the world map, make sure you're on the right server, and then look for one of the green planes, and just click the green plane and say, set as departure, and you will spawn on top of them. They may need to be your friend, do you know? Does that work?
No, not even. No, just
So zoom in
Stalker.
to see the green aircraft.
Secret Sauce, if you want to have bug reports, go to the forums is the correct venue for that, and submit a proper bug request in the forums.
Or
Or Zendesk, yeah.
But we do have certain rules on the forums, like I see mentioned list of issues. So for bug reports and reports specifically, we do one thread per issue.
Research for most things.
Yeah. So there's a good chance it's already in the forum, so there's the top right search function. Type it in and see if there's already a forum. If there is, you can go there and vote for any forums that contributes to that thread of your experience.
All right, Peter, did you find the right spot in the clip?
There we go.
Possible pilot deviation, advise you contact Las Vegas approach at, I'll give you the number when you're ready to copy. Not ready to copy,
Maybe it. It's less.
That's whiny as curses, do it again.
Yeah, that is true. Mine was exaggerated. In my memory, it was more whiny.
1 November Romeo. Possible pilot deviation, advise you contact Las Vegas approach at, I'll give you the number when you're ready to copy. Not ready to copy.
ポットやってるの
Yeah, smart.
全然体調に今日は護衛器がついてな
So
いってい
you
う
see here
の
the
が
those diagonal
護
stripes.
衛していくしかないってことか
Sierra Whiskey Alpha 282 285. Those are the two ILSs. And November 7 1 November Romeo is a Cessna 172, which is just crossing over the ILSs. Just happily flying, not minding his own business.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are there aircraft coming towards me?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, the pilot encroached into Bravo class airspace without permission from ATC to do so.
See a very new
Nope.
No.
Oh.
And I think, if I remember correctly, it was a Bonanza, not a 172.
Oh, sorry.
and,
Yeah.
and, it, like, and the pilot owned the Bonanza. Yeah, someone who definitely should have known better. Fizzy Hamster says, how far is everyone from the destination? I'm 25 minutes out, 113 nautical miles.
I'm 143.
Dave says, as I recall from the clip, he thought he had clearance, but was wrong. So valuable lesson there. If you're unsure, always get confirmation. There's no harm in asking ATC to confirm if you have clearance. They will be happy to repeat their instruction.
Yeah, where do you have clearance?
Well, secret sauce, unfortunately you just missed it by a few weeks. We had our big Reno event back in March. So just 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was sponsored by, again, Tobii Eye Tracker, which we were just talking about, was the title sponsor of that. And we had some representatives from the real Reno Air Races were able to join. Oh, you saw it. Yeah, we don't have another one planned at the moment, but follow us on socials, check our forums. Discord, Twitter, Facebook, wherever we post information, we will announce any events like that.
What was the final airport?
The final airport is... Oh, I gotta zoom my map out again since I respawned in to see the MKO code.
Uniform Alpha Charlie.
There you go. Uniform Alpha Charlie Charlie.
Charlie.
I just let you join the party.
Of course.
50 kilometers.
GD's movie hole says everyone's seen the story of the Blackbird flying over Arizona, California actually, but I know the story you're talking about. Listening to the string of aircraft calling in to get their ground speed from Los Angeles Center. So true story, and there's a Reno connection to this. At Reno 2021, Jane and I were lucky to be in attendance in person, and I met that pilot. I met the SR-71 ground speed check story pilot. And that was
Did
a
it
real
really
treat for
happen
me. I got
though?
my photo with
Because
them.
Yeah. There's
I've seen
recordings of
some
that.
talks that. Oh, okay. That wasn't real.
Oh, like that. I missed
It
it.
didn't actually.
Well, I mean, it's in his book. Whether it actually happened or not, only he would know, or a very small number of people. But he claims it's a true story.
Should be tapes somewhere. Maybe not anymore.
Still a fun story.
Yeah. Whether it's true or not.
何にもないの、しかし本当に カザフスタン大丈夫か？
I did. Just before we get to that, though, Tattoo Man has rated us. Welcome, Raiders from Tattoo Man.
Great.
We're flying in Kazakhstan today. We did a flight over the Baikonur Cosmodrome, which on April 12th, so earlier this week, 1961, was the site of Yuri Gagarin launching into orbit and becoming the first human in
あ、
space.
そうや、バイコヌール宇宙基地
So
ど
to
こかわから
commemorate
んか
that,
ったな、
we
ちょっと。
are flying in Kazakhstan today. This is the way. Okay, so Tom, what were we going to ask about this week's Mandalorian?
Well, just of course no spoilers. What did you think of it?
I thought it was hit or miss. I liked the ending. I thought it went to 11 really quickly at the end.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to be vague and not spoil anything. I thought the scene where the large creature was involved, I thought that was completely extraneous. It probably should have been on the cutting room floor. I don't think it added anything to the story.
That was a bit weird.
Yeah. But overall, yeah, I thought it was good. And next week's episode is the finale, right?
The last one.
Yeah.
There were. I don't know who of you watched some of the Star Wars Celebration. Yeah, a new series, new movies, 3 new movies actually.
You know, I will believe that when I see it, because
Yeah.
how many announced Star Wars
大
movies
長
have
ちゃ
been
ん、
canceled
先
in
行
the
き
last
ま
couple
ーす。
Yeah, well, I was most looking forward
That's
to as well.
apparently gone.
Yeah. I honestly, I would rather see that as a series. Have an ongoing series where it just follows the squadron as they do missions against the Empire as an ongoing arc.
Just the thought of having a Top Gun themed Star Wars.
Yeah.
French French and stuff.
Oh, just like the same camera angle.
Oh, they know. It's
Let's make it a hobby project.
it's only a bit of 3D. It's fine. It's fine.
Rent before the
Yeah.
where they have LED.
Wow.
Then we'll also rent a few planes and we'll do some cameras and we'll just green screen the shit. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, Tuscan says it's not completely.
It's only mostly dead. And as we know, mostly dead is not the same as all dead. Yeah, Pirate knows what's up.
This man is exactly dead. He has been beaten he has been beaten half to death twice.
Have fun storming the Death Star. Yeah, Apes knows what's up. So I know I'm not the only one who has pointed this out, but who else noticed that the final scene of Top Gun Maverick is almost like an exact copy of the final scene of Star Wars: A New Hope? Like you got a fighter plane have to go through a narrow trench drop a bomb into a target that's exactly like 2 meters by 2 meters.
Mhm.
Look at those cloud formations up here.
Look at the glass. Now, Peter, what type of glass are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Golden 501 has an interesting bit here as well. Nothing wrong with that because Star Wars: A New Hope took World War II footage and set it in space. Yeah, so here's a bit of trivia for you if you're not familiar. George Lucas, before the special effects for A New Hope were ready, used footage from the World War II movie The Dam Busters, based on the real-life mission of Lancaster pilots dropping bouncing bombs to destroy dams in Germany. He used footage from that movie as temporary footage when they were editing together A New Hope, which was just called Star Wars at the time. Didn't get the A New Hope title until later. When they were editing Star Wars, they used temporary footage from Dam Busters. And in fact, even some of the dialogue in A New Hope between the rebel X-Wing pilots is literally word for word exact dialogue from the Dam Busters. And there's a video on YouTube you can watch where they show them side by side.
Those Dam Busters was it already a movie? Or was it real footage from?
No, it was a movie, and for years, this is one of those films that's been stuck in development hell for like a decade now. But Peter Jackson owns the rights to it, and he wants to do a remake of the Dam Busters. But as far as I know, it's like, I don't know if it's happening, but he keeps saying he wants to make it, and he has the rights to do it. He's just been busy with other projects, or he can't make it happen, or who knows what.
Okay, just found out that the drinks. And that makes sense because one of the facts is that horses were first domesticated in
見えないか。見えないっぽい。
5C. You must be new here.
Deviations from the
I am watching Picard Season 3, Iceman. I'm all caught up. I watched yesterday's episode 9. I'm unsure if I like it or not. It's great to see the gang back together. It's just so full of fan service. And I'm not sure if this is really cool or if this is basically just like too much. Like I don't know. I'll have to wait to see how it ends before I give final judgment. I'm definitely enjoying season 3 more than season 1 and 2 though.
But this big great. Real wow. Say
I was at Pub Trivia on Tuesday night, and they had a question, and I would have felt really bad if I got this wrong. The question was, in what country is the hit video game Forza Horizon 5?
ひょー
in Sweden.
Not Venezuela.
How
Yes,
many pub quizzes do you have in a month?
Yeah, every week I go to
Every week.
every Tuesday. But yes, Mexico is the right answer. But I would have
Everybody
felt
knows.
really bad if I got that one wrong. Yeah, exactly. It's great for you. They also had another one that I did get wrong, and I feel dumb for getting this one right. Again, speaking of Peter Jackson, there's a connection here. In The Lord of the Rings, who gave Legolas his bow? It didn't say. Or I said there's more. They said which member of Elvish royalty gave Legolas his bow? No, I got it wrong. So Wizzy Canuck would have got it right. It was Galadriel was the right answer. I guessed King Thranduil, which is Legolas's father, which made sense because he had a bow in Lord of the Rings before he met Galadriel, right? In the movie, at least. Dave says Thranduil was your other guess. Yeah, so that was my guess, which I got it wrong. But he already had a bow. Like I know Galadriel gave him a better bow, but does that count? I don't know. Anyways, my team finished third, so
Not good enough.
there were 17 teams. We finished
Then
third out of 17.
これどこ行くんだろう
And top
Rank
5 teams
Ghost
got a
じゃないやろ
prize.
な
So we got a prize.
これ聞いた
Legolas
ら
got a +4 bow
ちょっと
striking.
悲しい気持ちになる
So there's 6 rounds, and there's a theme round, and the theme round changes every week. The other 5 rounds are always consistent. There's like a music round. There's like they have one round they call, this is where like the Forza Horizon question and the Lord of the Rings question here, they call it nerdy knowledge. So it's all about like science fiction, fantasy, video games, anime, comics, that kind of stuff. I'm okay. I missed the Lord of the Rings question, so I'm not that good. You know. Then there's a general knowledge round. There's usually a video round. So in this case, they played 10 movie trailers or clips, like 10-second clips from movie trailers.
Lag
for
Ghost とか
upcoming
もな、
movies
これ。
coming in 2023. And you had to
自
name the
分の
title of
他
the
に
film
飛行機い
from
ない
a
もん
10-second
な
clip. What was your team name? Ah, interesting. So something else they
うん
did.
ほらこんな遠くまで
Something else. This actually ties back to our early conversation about German and English as well. It's almost like you're a paid actor, Surly Dev, and you're setting me up for this question. On their social media, as a way to encourage people to follow them, the day before the trivia, they post a visual clue of the theme category. And in this case,
トラフィックル
they
ープに乗っ
posted
と
the
る
visual
と信
clue
じよう
was a clip from The Simpsons of
Rock.
Sideshow Bob flying the right flyer in that one episode of The Simpsons that I'm sure a lot of you saw in the 90s. And so we incorrectly assumed that the theme round this week was going to be about The Simpsons, or maybe even specifically about episodes of The Simpsons that featured
無茶
Sideshow
しよ
Bob.
うな
And so our team name, and I'm sure some of you in chat will get this, and the others will have no idea what we're talking about. Our team name was The Bart. The.
どこ行くんだろう
Beautiful descent into the sun.
Yeah.
Terrain here? Yeah, I'm already on.
Hapes got it. I know I can count on you, Hapes. Yes, it's not Die Bart dies. It's German. It means the Bart. The.
Oh, you mean D-Bot.
Yes. All right, I am 8 minutes out, 37 nautical miles to go. Also, on the question, I would have felt really bad if I got this one wrong. What did called 6 So I was like,
Is there like a
no, that's the yeah, it wasn't first the right flyer, and I would have had to like resign from my job.
どこに行くんか。
Are you not going in the right direction? Pretty nice.
Nice. Okay, here we go. This is oh, you know what? Heading.
And then asks if I'm using the fly pizza. Just saw you very focused.
壊れた1個エンジンが。
Single point with no movement.
しまった。ダバーの少し
Like what's happening?
あ、燃料がないんだ。燃料追加あるのみ。
It's fine.
Hamman asks, by the way, how are we today? I'm doing great, Hamman. It's always the highlight of my week to do Community Fly-In Friday with all of you wonderful people.
Aw. But really, how are you?
Not Peter and Tom.
terrible?
iOS, what's your...
Yes,
iOS, of course. Yeah, but I think I picked up for iOS. What's your...
Pretty dark here.
Gene, we've got about 5 minutes of flying time remaining. Should we ask where everyone's from and who are we going to put on the spot to read them all this week?
I think we should name all the listeners.
Okay. So is it like rock, paper, then you show your sign, or 1, 2, 3? 1, 2, 3, shoot. Okay. Alright, ready? Alright. Yep.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay.
So Tom and Jane are out. Me and Peter are out. Yeah.
Okay.
Good old rock. Nothing beats that.
Exactly.
こっちだ。
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
It was both.
Oh, we both did scissors. Oh no. Peter, you're in my head. Alright, ready?
Yeah.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I mean,
Oh,
wait.
Yeah,
No, so CD has to read.
Well, no, because I was...
Winner then.
Tom.
Yeah. So that's the winner is
Oh, the winner is actually the loser.
Did the opposite.
success with the landing, Peter also.
Yeah, I'm also trying to land here, but no worries. Luckily.
Gently.
Washington?
Washington.
Yeah, New Zealand, France, California, Czechia, Southern California, Nigeria, USA, Sweden, Norway, Ireland, Texas,
Oh, what a bomb burrito.
Lake Titicaca, Czech Republic, probably a burrito that if you eat that you'll be yeah, Florida, Germany, yeah, the rock figure.
Alright.
Yeah, but it wasn't. For my part, I ate.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. flown again.
I have a question then for DNH. Since you're from Omicron Persei 8, you might know the answer to this. Or maybe you don't. Why doesn't Ross, as the largest friend, simply...
It's fine.
I also see something
Captain Jack Lyle is flying with us today in an F-14.
What's that?
So there is the capital city of Kazakhstan off to our sort of 10 o'clock.
What's it?
On this approach.
I'm on short final.
Whoa, Peter, that's an aggressive landing.
Yeah. I missed that.
Oh.
All right, that was smooth. I'll take that one. That was a decent landing.
Wait for the plane.
God, I was gonna park here on the grass.
Oh, I might be the same. The weather is pretty.
あ、ネイビーだ、こいつは。
Not night, right?
Yeah.
This is what we meant to.
Well, I hope everyone enjoyed Community Fly in Kazakhstan today in commemoration that which we flew
あんま
over
り
very
空
early
中
on
では
our
お会いで
birthday.
きませんでしたが、
Peter, Tom, Jane,
仕事が
any
早いです
concluding
な、
thoughts before we sign off?
What are we going to try tomorrow or next week?
Well, that's a mystery.
デルタ航空
We
だ。
will, of course, be back next Friday. I haven't picked the destination yet, so stand by on that. But you know, no matter where we go, I always enjoy these flights. It's always something interesting, always something fun to talk about, something new to learn. So wherever we end up next week, I'm sure to be very fun.
よし。
Of course, 2 weeks from now, we tentatively have scheduled World Update 13 is on the roadmap, and you saw that in yesterday's Dev Update vlog. So hopefully 2 weeks from now, we'll do a World Update 13
お、
related
こっち
flight.
にも大佐が乗っ
Next
てる
week,
ダー
have
クスタ
not
ー
yet picked the destination. So stand by, check our forums, check our Facebook and Twitter for information.
うわ、かっこええ。
All right, bye everyone. Have a great weekend.
あ、このアンテナ線も貼ってあるわ。あ、中も飛行機の中まで見える。じゃあエンジンカット。キャノピーオープン。エンジンカットオフ。カバーオン。クルービジビリティオン。じゃあ、ホットでも飲みに行きますか。てなわけで、今日もお疲れ様でした。ありがとうございました。